Conall, you spoke about decarbonisation being somewhat intellectual in terms of how we think about it. It's almost something that's on the never in our minds. We don't see it in front of our eyes, the effects of it immediately. But I recently spoke with Paul Dean and Paddy Finn. And I suppose Paul's key focus is on improving the quality of life for the people in Ireland. And I think some of the points that were raised are points that we often miss in terms of the real carrot. There's a huge carrot in terms of achieving our objectives and in terms of breaking down the barriers to achieving our objectives. And I suppose one key one is around the quality of life. If we have secure energy supply in Ireland, and we have a low cost source of energy in Ireland, because a key source of stress in people's lives is financial challenges.
Well, like if you've opening your power bill or your gas bill recently is like opening a thriller. You honestly don't know what the number is going to be. And, in the industry, the jargon is bill shock. And that's certainly been, I think, felt by a lot of people. And one of the examples of where, for example, probably we see solar helping a lot with those kinds of pieces is that, if you're generating yourself a high proportion of that from kind of your own sustainable source, where essentially you're going taking down the scale of that bill, that's a good contributor to the quality of people's lives. Something, it was notable in the government's recent energy security framework. They were talking about putting panels up on like houses for people in energy poverty, and it makes a huge amount of sense. It's rounding error on the state's national budget, costs nothing, big improvement in people's lives, because one of the biggest stresses for people in economic disadvantage is energy bills, and they're skyrocketing. And like last year, your retail bill went up 3 to 5 times, 3 to 5 times in currents. The wholesale cost is 3 times what it was this time last year. And that's only going one other way with the Ukrainian war.
But international fossil fuel prices underpin the cost of all manufacturing, the cost of all food production. So it isn't just when we get our energy bills that it's going to affect it. It's going to affect our access to goods and services. And
I think we also have to be a little. There's a nuance here as well, that like when you look at the bill, like the international fossil fuel price is a big part of it, yes, but there's a lot of domestic policy decisions we take. Like going back in more normal times, like that wholesale cost, that costs the international trade apart is about, say, 40% of your bill. Your PSO is about 5-6%, maybe 4% sometimes. Your VAT is about 11%. Supply costs are about 11%. The residual, which is a good third, is usually network costs. And the way we charge for network costs, the way the regulatory structures around those, they add a lot of costs to not just my members when they're trying to connect renewable projects to the grid, but they also add direct costs to people's bills, the way they're quantified and the way it's worked through. And it's something that doesn't get a lot of attention. And I do feel, Noel talked about breaking the mold and moving forward, and that's something we need to do. And we have to stop being afraid of looking at the sacred cows. We're a little too happy to kind of go, there's good process and this is the way we've been doing it for the last 10 years. And we don't have time for that. Like we have to profoundly transform the way we consume and use electricity in this country in the next 7.5 years. So that means getting going. That means starting to build real network. It's starting to operate in a much smarter way. It's recognizing that we have to parallel all these work streams, as you've both kind of alluded to, and recognizing that we're not always going to get it right, but that's okay, because the journey is going to be one where it's a cleaner economy, our electricity supply is more secure, our wider energy supply is more secure, people are going to be healthier and happier, and that doesn't sound like a bad future to me.